Welcome to Film Fury. My name is Victor Lucas. Johnny Millennium couldn't be here with me. We've got a very busy week of screenings, and so he didn't come to see The Trip to Spain with me, but I've got your review right after this. But first, we have to thank the Vancouver Film School for supporting Film Fury. And now let's go on a trip to Spain, which stars Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon. This is the third in the movie series. That's actually a television series in the UK, and they're stitched together into these movies. There's been a trip to Italy, and there's also been another movie called The Trip, where Coogan and Brydon travel around and eat all kinds of food and pull off all kinds of impressions and basically play off of each other and have kind of a sort of a life-affirming adventure. And that's absolutely all of the ingredients that have come together to make The Trip to Spain. And obviously this one, we get a nice sort of cross-section of all of these beautiful Spanish towns and cities. Lots of great restaurants are explored. There's a ton of food porn in here. But really what is at the kind of the heart of the enjoyment of this movie is the interplay, the conversations that Coogan and Brydon have, where they're constantly trying to one-up each other in terms of historical information and data about all of these different places that we get to travel, but also with their pop culture quick-fire back and forth that they have. They can pull all kinds of memories and song quotes, and of course lots and lots of impressions. The way that I was even kind of first introduced to these guys was a YouTube clip of them going back and forth with their Michael Caine impression, and that impression does definitely make a reappearance here in this movie. There's lots of Brando, there's lots of Al Pacino, but I think Roger Moore is the one that is really honored throughout this movie. There are lots of, you know, sort of Bond homages all the way through here. Some Sean Connery as well, but Roger Moore gets the bulk of the impressions, and they sort of challenge each other. They go back and forth with who can do a better Roger Moore, and all of that stuff is kind of cool. The movie does sort of feel a little bit thinner and a little bit less original. Obviously, it's the third in a series after all, but I feel like we're retreading a lot of ground. But what we are starting to examine, of course, is that these two actors and writers and just incredible talents are starting to mature and dealing with some pretty common things that people approaching middle age or into middle age are kind of facing, and there's some pretty honest, cool, dramatic moments in this movie, and I think that's where you know, the heart of the film and the sort of value of the film really comes through for me, because now we're starting to see these guys as they're tripping around to different locations, and they're adding color to their relationship, and they're adding some nuance, which I'm sure is based on a real life friendship, and we're starting to see a lot more subtlety, a lot more kind of humanness sort of seep out. It's not just them poking each other and kind of showcasing each other's talents and sort of boasting about who is more talented all the way through. We're actually starting to see their real life frailties and their real life concerns sort of come through as they are aging and sort of looking back at maybe some of the glory years that are now behind them, and sort of dealing with the comedy of that, you know. And I thought there was some really cool, terrific, heartfelt moments in there, and there are definitely sequences in the movie that had me busting out, laughing out loud in the theater. You know, what's funny, Johnny wasn't here, but there also weren't a lot of critics here. I don't think that this is going to be one of those big breakout, smash, indie, darling type movies out there. I think this is one of those kinds of films that sort of finds a cult audience and people share it among friends. It's kind of like the Richard Linklater movies, the Before Sunset, Before Midnight movies that Linklater did with Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy, where they traveled around and they sort of had to go back into their relationship over many years. It's a little bit like that, except these guys are a couple of showbiz show-offs, and they're constantly kind of riffing off of each other with their pop culture references, and they're sort of lampooning all of this stuff as well. And you know, a large part of these trip movies, you don't really know how serious each one of them is taking the moment, but some of the more serious kind of stuff that hits us all kind of seeps in around the edges, and it makes these characters, and they're playing themselves, but it makes them much more human and interesting. And, there's some really good contemplative moments throughout these movies as well, and this one is no exception. Beautiful music, of course, beautiful vistas. It doesn't look like they're incredibly expensive films to make, but some pretty fantastic drone shots are scattered throughout this film with lots of great vista shots and some beautiful cities that we get to visit, beautiful towns. There's lots of castles and, lots of great scenery moments in here where we just kind of get a sense of these two older guys starting to jog and sort of take better care of themselves. Coogan has stopped drinking in this movie. And I don't really know how much of it is a reflection of their real life or their approach to real life, or if the family characters that are discussed and talked to in the film are based on real life, people that are in Coogan and Brydon's life. But it does feel human. It does feel natural and real and authentic. And it's certainly filled with a lot of laughs and a lot of poignant, funny, truthful moments all the way through. So I did find this movie quite entertaining. I don't think it was as good as the only other Trip movie that I saw, which was the original, The Trip. And I haven't seen The Trip to Italy yet, but I really did like this movie, except for the ending. The ending was a little too ambiguous and weird and sort of out of character, and also the film kind of felt like it meandered. And there is this sort of central sequence in this movie where Rob Brydon, his character is a little bit more annoying in the film, and I don't know if it's Rob Brydon sort of cranking himself up to 11. And there's a lunch sequence in here where he just will not stop being Roger Moore as he talks over what Steve Coogan is doing, and it is annoying, and it's annoying to the actors on screen and the moment that they're portraying, but it's annoying as an audience member, and it kind of is a reflection of the film. It just keeps going and going and going, and it could have done with a little bit more snipping, a little bit more editing. But overall, I did like The Trip to Spain, and I think it's a trip you should go and check out. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Hey, if you look at a movie like The Trip to Spain and you say, hey, I can make a movie like that too, you know that you can learn to do that in 1 year if you go to the Vancouver Film School. Go to vfs.edu for more info.